Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the BenchWire podcast. There is a lot to talk about, a lot to recap, a lot of drama that went down today, a lot of trades. Got to recap all the beautiful games that happened this past weekend, and I can't do it without my co-host Justin.
What's
How's it
up?
going, man?
What's
How's it
up?
going?
Not too bad. Fun weekend of football. Penn State. I wanted to shout out college football. Penn State, big win, man. Now number 3. That's awesome. Good to
That
see.
is
I
awesome.
love that. I love that. And yeah, that was just a fun weekend for me of watching football. So I can't complain. A little bit R&R watching football, watching my fantasy football team. We'll get into that later on the fantasy video, but yeah, good weekend. I can't complain, man. I'll throw it back to you. How was your weekend? How you feeling?
It was a great weekend. Wasn't a great weekend for my Giants. We'll get into that eventually on this episode. You know, they could have won that game possibly, but they didn't. And yeah, Penn State getting the job done over USC there in overtime, kicking that field goal now. Yeah, ranked number 3. Can't complain. Can't complain. But we got a lot of news to talk about, so let's get into it. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend. Davante Adams has officially landed in New York. He is now officially a New York Jet. Reunites there with Aaron Rodgers, and they got him for a third round pick. That's a conditional pick that could turn into a second round pick there. And that was a trade that we kind of expected that Davante would end up in New York. We did both call that. And yeah, it's a big move
Mhm.
that the Jets needed to pull off if they wanted to, have a shot at being a Super Bowl contender this year and, salvage their season there. I like the move a lot for the Jets. For the Raiders, they don't really get much better from this. And, Devontae was already on his way out. So it kind of already made sense that he was going to go elsewhere. And to the Jets, it made the most sense. You get to reunite with the quarterback they have the chemistry with and Aaron Rodgers. And it should be a fun little matchup there for the Jets, adding Davante Adams back in the receiver room there with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson can learn a thing or two with Davante Adams, but now there's a question: will Mike Williams now get moved? And I'm gonna probably say yes. I think Mike Williams does eventually get moved now. He's got to be on the trade block after kind of screwing up that game last night. And yeah, with Alan Lazard being that good that he's been this year, it is a crowded receiver room. So I think Mike Williams is on the way out. But all in all, if I had to give this trade a grade, I would give it I give it a B plus. I give it a B plus because you're salvaging the season there. I don't know how much Davante Adams will make your offense better and make your team overall better. It's going to make your offense better, but is it going to be the difference of you winning the division? We will see. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'll turn it over to you. I'm gonna give the grade a B plus for the trade.
Yeah, what's funny is how this deal kind of came about. It just happened overnight, and then you hear the reports. Oh yeah, Davante Adams is already in the building, and then you look at Pat McAfee show. It made his ways around social media, and he was doing his interview. Aaron Rodgers was, and then Davante Adams comes into the back. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm
Hey.
here." I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's like it
it's
was
like
all happening behind the scenes.
it's like it was. I believe what happened was Joe Douglas and the owner were working overnight to get it done. Like even during the game last night, I think they were working getting that deal done. And from what I've heard and understand is that he was in the air last night and he got in, I think late last night. And yeah, they got it all finalized. It was official today. They reported, and it's basically all a done deal. So I think he's on track. I think he'll play some Sunday, even if it's like in a limited reps kind of role. So we'll probably see him. But yeah, from the Jets perspective, it's a great move. It's a great move. He's now going to be your number one. And as we've seen the last couple of weeks, especially with Garrett Wilson, he's been playing like a number one receiver. He's been playing good. Him and Rodgers starting to get more of a rapport. He's been winning against some good number one cornerbacks there, but now he's going up against number two. So I expect him to have more space, more opportunity to eat and cook, especially now Nathaniel Hackett's out of the way now. And I liked their offense last night too. I didn't think it was too bad. And you got Brees Hall in the backfield. That's a dual threat. That's a good offense. And Alan Lazard was doing good as a number 2. Now he's a number 3. He can work in the slot a little bit more. You can move those guys around. They can win in the slot, win outside. It's great for their offense. The question is, can the offensive line hold up for him? That's the key. Aaron Rodgers still gets too much pressure. He's older. He's not as mobile, so he needs a clean pocket to throw to like longer developing routes. So we'll see how that all plans out there. But yeah, I think it's a move you have to make. You're all in. You don't know how much you got Rodgers for. You get his like one of his best friends in the league to come back. If you remember receiver, they were like, "Oh, I miss you, man, and I love you," and then now they're all back. So it's cool. So yeah, from that perspective, I think it's a B plus too. I'll go with you to an B plus A minus. I'm like right in that range. And yeah, real quickly with the Raiders, the biggest move that happened to them today wasn't the conditional second and the 7th. It was more so Tom Brady is now a owner. He got
Yeah,
approved.
that was the bigger
That
news
was
for him.
that was the bigger news. And Mark Davis said today, the owner, he's like he's going to be instrumental in like culture building as well as picking their quarterback for the future. So, and if you want to, he's kind of tied right now to Shadur, and Shadur and Mark Davis were seen talking to. I forget it was at some kind of game. It was at a football game or basketball game, something along those lines. So I would look to my early prediction. Shadur will be a Raider, is my guess,
That makes a
and
lot of sense
I
to
think
get
it will.
butts in the seat.
He's been an understudy of Brady for a while when he was still playing towards the end there for a little while, and yeah, and Mark Davis seems to be all in on him too. So I would say Shadur, Raiders QB1 next year. But in terms of the trade, that doesn't do too much. The second round pick, if I don't know what the implications are, what he has to hit to make that a second. But
Yeah, I'm
if he
not sure.
hits, I don't know what he needs to do to make
Some
that a
type of
second.
stat
But
line.
that's what they wanted. So, and it could very well happen if they all stay healthy too. So, the second's good value. I like it. I'll give it a C. I'm indifferent about it. The second round pick you could get a good guy in there, a young guy. You're on the rebuild, and yeah, that's all I think about it. But another interesting question is what happens to Max Crosby. He's been said he has the Raiders tattooed on him, and he made it clear that he does want to stay a Raider. He loves it there. He has it tattooed on him. He's like, I'm a Raider for life, essentially. But that doesn't mean they go a different way and maybe try to move him. But honestly, I do think he'll stay. But it poses a question. Maybe they're willing to move from him, maybe for a right price. But we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they'll keep him for this year. They got to have like some type of star player on their team to, make fans want to watch. So I feel like he'll definitely stay for this year, but he could be on his way out maybe next season by the trade deadline if, things don't turn around for him. So, but yeah, big
Yeah.
move for the Jets, bringing in Davante Adams. So that is going to be fun to watch. But the Bills had one thing to say. They said, hold my beer. A few hours later, Amari Cooper, they acquired from the Cleveland Browns, got the job done. And now they got their receiver one to, compete with the Jets after they just got their receiver one, receiver two, and Davante Adams. And I like the move a lot because, yeah, much needed help for Josh Allen and that receiver room that's kind of depleted. It's a young room as well. You got Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel is a veteran, and Shakir. But, Amari Cooper is light years better than all of them and automatically the number one target in that offense. I like the move a lot for the Bills. And, they just beat the Jets last night and they want to continue beating the Jets. And I feel like adding a guy like Amari Cooper will help them beat the Jets and keep them contending and hopefully another piece to help them beat the Chiefs later down the road in the playoffs, or the Ravens as well. So they want to stay up there. They want to be a top dog in the AFC, and you got to get a guy like Amari Cooper. It made sense with the roster move right there because of the cap space and everything. They didn't have to pay that much because he's on an expiring deal and wasn't that much money compared to a Davante Adams. I know they were in on Davante Adams from what I heard, but yeah, the money just didn't make sense. So they took a nice, better option for them. And Amari Cooper not going to eat up a lot of cap space. And yeah, he's on an expiring deal, and if it all goes well, they might extend him. So, it's a good move. Gets Josh Allen a number one target, and it was pretty much for a third round pick and a pick swap. And they got more. The Browns got more for Amari Cooper than the Cowboys did. The
I
Cowboys
was
only got
just going
a
to bring
fifth
that
round
up.
pick. The Cowboys only got a fifth round pick for Amari Cooper.
And he's older. He's older,
And
too.
he's older. And a few
Yeah.
years later, the Browns get a third round pick. Like,
He,
that is crazy.
he traded him in his prime for a fifth.
Yeah, like that's nuts. That's nuts. But yeah, Amari Cooper's in a much happier place, and I think he will be happier there because he's on automatic contender, competing for that Lombardi Trophy. And the Browns, they get better. They get a third round pick because they're not going anywhere this year. The Browns are goddamn awful, and it sucks. But now maybe Jerry Jeudy can shine for them. But Amari Cooper to the Bills, I would give it an A minus. I really like it a lot. A minus. And for the Browns perspective, I would give it a C plus. Give it a C plus. Getting a third round pick for a guy they only gave up a fifth rounder for. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, just to quote the wise and experience and the best GM in the NFL, Jerry Jones. Hell no, there's nobody that could fucking come in here and be better GM than me. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Idiot.
no, this makes Brandon Bean great job on this trade. Yeah, you needed receiver help. That was the one glaring need, especially the last couple weeks, is that he didn't have the number one. He was missing someone that could win pretty consistently. He's an underrated route runner. He's really good there. So that helps Josh Allen a lot too. So great move for the Bills. I loved it. A plus. I think though they were in on that Davante Adams deal, and then once they got wind of it, I guess last night, news and rumors, they like move around pretty quick. So I think they got wind of it. And then once it was pretty much set in stone last night, I think they immediately pivoted to Amari Cooper, and they got that ironed out too. So obviously the Browns are dog shit, and they're, pun intended, but dog pound. Yeah.
Dog pound.
They're dog shit.
Yeah.
So they're looking to sell. So it makes sense to get a deal done. There's only a few weeks left in the deadline, so there's more moves to be made. Yeah, it's a great move for them. That's one of the glaring needs. I think they need it, and I think it's an A. What do you have to do? You didn't get the top guy in Davante Adams, but you got one of the next best things. So I give it an A there. And I want to bring in the Eagles for a second because we gave up a third and 2 7s for Jahan, and they gave up less for better receivers.
You guys got fleeced.
We did. We got fleeced. Howie, fucking terrible job.
Howie did it again. Right?
Yeah, terrible. Yeah, he hasn't had. He really, honestly, if you think about it, not that good of an offseason. Other than like Saquon, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, Saquon was the best move. Devin White was supposed to be a big signing. They cut him, right?
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell has been awful, right? He's been solid.
The draft's been good. The draft's been good. We'll talk about
Mekhi Becton
a little bit. Yeah.
So there were some moves there, but yeah, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about them later, but just to grade it real quick, A for the Bills, and I'll go C for the Browns.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much on the same grade right there. Let's switch it over back to the Jets, though. So we did find out today that the Jets have given Hassan Reddick 48 hours to find a trade, and we heard that from his agent, Drew Rosenhaus. And I want to turn it over to you. Do you think Hassan Reddick does get traded? And if so, where?
Yeah, I think it's been just a massive headache for the Jets and Hassan Reddick himself. Couldn't get anything done. It's been a really weird how that all went down. They couldn't get anything worked out. So I think they're both ready. Let's just move sides. But the Jets are saying, look, we don't want to – you guys seek the trade. You guys work it. And then wherever you want to go, we'll do it. I just think they want him to go to NFC. So I do think he'll get moved. I think he'll get – I think we'll hear something either tomorrow. I think we'll hear something tomorrow about it. I think he'll get moved tomorrow. But where do I think he's going to go? My number one pick, they just lost someone, Detroit. Detroit would be my number one landing spot for him. That's where I think he's going to go. Look, he's not he's not better than Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson has more upside, and he's been playing lights out this year. But you're getting a guy that's a little bit older, but he can still sack the quarterback. He can still rush the quarterback. So when you get in production, it's if you get him, the production won't fall as much. I feel like if you get Hassan Reddick, and you still need that edge rusher, you still need that guy that rush the quarterback. Because other than that, I can't name you like an elite pass rusher they have that scares opposing quarterbacks that they have to account for to get home on the quarterback consistently. So I do think the Lions make a lot of sense. It's an NFC team. You don't have to worry about him being in conference, and he goes to a contender. And the Lions, we're going to talk more about them, but you got a Super Bowl window here. You lost a big piece of your team. You can need to supplement that with someone that can, with another more than adequate pass rusher. So I think that's where Hassan will end up.
I like that. I like that. I was gonna say Detroit as well. I feel like that's another good landing spot. But the other place I was gonna say was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like the Bucks, they want to go all in as well. They don't really have any like marquee edge rushers there. I feel like Hassan Reddick would fit right in, and yeah, go to the NFC as well. And the Bucks, they think they got a good enough roster there to compete. They put an ass whooping this weekend, scored 50 plus points. So I feel like Hassan Reddick, who's supposed to be a top 10 edge rusher when he was on the field, and he was productive as hell the past few years, was like top 5 in sacks. So they want to get a guy that can contribute right away. I feel like the Bucks make a lot of sense. And yeah, I would say either Detroit or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would make a lot of sense for Hassan Reddick. But yeah, it's just a matter of, will they give him a contract? Will they pay him? Or else he won't get traded. They have to figure out all the details and iron it out, or this is not happening at all.
Also, I think I know they're AFC, but watch out for the Ravens. I think they have a sneaky shot at getting him too. I think they're looking for an edge rusher, so I wouldn't rule them out of the Hassan Reddick sweepstakes.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, pretty much all the contenders right now are going to go after this guy. But yeah, out of the two NFC, I think those are the two teams that he would go to. But yeah, we recap that now. So let's talk about your Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they got the job done. It was a feel-good win. They got the job done.
No, it was. It did not feel
Survived
good.
the Cleveland
Not feel
Browns,
good.
and they beat Deshaun Watson and company. And man, oh man, how do you feel after that win? How do you feel, especially with Nick Sirianni getting into that heated exchange there with the fans? Just the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, I'll get into Sirianni in a second. Just to recap the game pretty quickly. The Browns are really, really bad. Deshaun Watson, I know I said, yeah, keep him out there. I didn't think he was that bad. I watched a full game of the Browns. First time this year, and I'm like, it's bad. It's bad. He does not look good at all. The offensive line is starting to get a little bit more healthy. They got Jack Conklin back in this game, and he still didn't look that good. Vic Fangio brought more pressure, so something that we don't see in the Vic Fangio defense is him bringing pressure. They brought more of it. They got 5 sacks, and they had a good showing defensively. The only touchdown they had, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was one of the best players on the field. It was him and another guy I'll get to, A.J. Brown, was another one, best player on the field. He jumped over on the field goal. He jumped over, blocked it. Rodney McLeod, former Eagle, took it home. Tie it 10-10 at the half.
That was nuts.
Hell of a play. He's such a freak athlete. Wrecked the game. He's a great player. Just makes his presence felt, and he did. Great player, man. Nothing bad to say there. But the defense for Philadelphia, it was fool's gold for the most part. They played well, yes, but against what offense? The worst offense in the NFL you played decent with. They still put up 16, which was not entirely your fault, right? You didn't give up a touchdown, you gave up a couple field goals, but yeah, it was it. I'm not gonna gripe on the defense. I thought they played pretty well, but it's fool's gold. I still don't think they're a good defense to me. Even though I like Quinion, I like the rookie. DeJean finally played some slots. They trusted him over Maddox there, and he got some pressures. He got a couple sacks, blitzing off the slot, and he looks really good too. So I'm happy with the rookies there too. That's awesome. But yeah, the offense. I thought Jalen played one of his best game, his cleanest game of football. No turnovers. That's a pretty good Browns defense, right? Miles Garrett's there. They still got Denzel Ward. They got guys that could play on there, and he didn't turn the ball over, which I was happy about. Saquon didn't get in much of a rhythm. Jim Schwartz, I think he challenged Jalen Hurts. He wanted to say, "We're going to take away Saquon. We're going to make you beat us with your arm." And man, that last play at the end, where you're like, "Okay, hand the ball off, run the clock." They take the risk. They throw it downfield, and AJ Brown, man, he catches it. What a player he is, man. Dude, you can make the argument, and I'm not being biased, that he's the best receiver in the NFL. I kid you not. I'm not being biased. What can he not do? Who can tackle him in the secondary? Like, what can he not do? You can make that argument. I'm not going to say he is or isn't, but he's at least top three, in my opinion. If you don't have him in top three, you don't know ball. You're not valid, man. I don't trust that list. I'm saying fuck you, and I'm moving to someone else, man. Come on, he's top three. Yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Sirianni, man, I'm fucking done with this dude. Yeah, dude, we Philadelphians, Philadelphia. You're a Philly sports fan, and yourself. We boo when we don't like the product. The product on the field, the first half, the offense was struggling to move the ball, so hence we booed, and we were booing the whole game. But likewise, we do support them. We do on when the Browns were driving in this instance, we do get loud in there. Sirianni did say they created a couple false starts, which is true. But man, he's for your coach to be the most immature person on the field it's embarrassing. I've never been more embarrassed in my life, man. As an Eagles fan, just watching this guy on the sideline, it's nuts. Like his antics, just being immature, doing too much, celebrating. You don't heckle at your fans, man. You don't listen to them. You don't heckle with them. It pissed me off when I saw that. I'm like, why are you yelling at your own fans, man? It makes no sense. And what's worse than that is he goes up to the press conference and he brings his kids up them. You know why? They're a shield. He's like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
don't ask me any tough questions. I got my kids with me. Don't ask
clown.
me anything hard.
He's a
Yeah,
clown.
he's a clown. I can't stand the dude. I hate the dude. I can't stand him. I wish he was fired just for that alone. You're celebrating at the end, barely beating probably the worst team in the NFL. And I'm not kidding. The Browns are probably the worst team in the league this year. And you're celebrating winning by 4 points. I told you, take the Browns with the points, and that's why. And any competent head coach, you win by 2 scores. And yeah, and you know what? If the Browns had any semblance of a quarterback, if they had a Matt Stafford, anyone that's like decent, we lose that game. They had a better quarterback, we lose. So that's nothing to be celebrating about. And yesterday he apologized, and I think that was a fabricated apology. I think Lori called him and it's like, look, I told you in the exit meeting last year, don't do that shit. And he pulled it off again and he made him apologize. It was a half-hearted one because at the press conference after the game, he was kind of shit talking to fans. He's like, I don't like it when they boo, blah, 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 but I like it when they cheer. It's like, you don't understand Philly. You don't understand our fan base. He's
been there for what, 4 years? He doesn't know the fan base by now, how passionate they are.
No, he's an
crazy
idiot. And he still has hands in the play going. And if you look at our season last year and you look at it now, not much difference. Yeah, you could look at all the other coaching positions, but the one person that stayed is Sirianni, and we look the same. So it's him. He's the problem.
He is the problem.
So yeah, they need to move on from him as soon as possible. So yeah, it's a tough spot because obviously I want my Eagles to do well, but man, I can't stand this dude, and I want him gone. So yeah, not it's. I know you said it's a feel good win. It's nothing to feel good about. That's the worst team in the NFL.
I just said that.
I'm like, it's not a feel good win.
Get you back in the win column, right? Got the Giants coming this week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll see, but man, that was infuriating. That pissed a lot of people off. So
Yeah.
annoying. I don't know how they brought him back after last year.
And then he shaves his head. He shaves his head,
He's
thinking
having
he's a
like
brand
a
new man. He's like he's going crazy, man.
he's
He's
having
going crazy. Yeah,
midlife crisis right now.
he's getting
Nuts.
crazy, man. He might
It's
be bipolar or something. I don't know what it is. Um, but yeah, you cannot act like that in front of the fan base. People that pay all that types of money to go there every Sunday. And you should know, you've been there for 4 years, how passionate they are. They'll boo at pretty much anything. They're going to say F Sirianni. They're going to say that because they
we
don't
booed
like you. Right?
fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah, you booed Santa Claus. You you
We
threw
boo anything.
you threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't matter.
They threw batteries at Michael Irvin when he broke his neck.
Exactly. Like we know the history of the Eagles fan base. Like you should
Yeah.
know what you're getting into there. So like you got to
Yeah.
just play it cool and just stay calm and just do your job. That's all you have to do. And he can't even do that right because he doesn't
Mhm.
have a job. He's just a puppet. That's all Nick Sirianni is. He's a puppet that Howie and Jeffrey Lurie try to attempt to control. And that's why Doug Peterson wanted out of there. And now they
Yeah.
got Nick Sirianni, and now he's a head case.
Right.
So they got to find a way to get a new coach in there eventually. Don't know who it is. And, figure out who it is. Is it going to be a nice coach like a Bill Belichick? No. Is it going to be a Mike Vrabel? Probably not. It's probably going to be a scrub coordinator from a different team, and they're just going to hire him because, hey,
Probably.
that's what the Eagles do. So, yeah, it's a feel-good win for the Eagles because they're back in the win column, but it's nothing to get excited about because they beat the Browns, one of the worst teams in the league, and I'll keep it at that. So let's turn it over to my Giants. Let's talk about that debacle that happened on Sunday night. So the Giants, what is Daniel Jones 1-14 on prime time? That is awful. I think the one win he had was when we clinched the playoff spot against the Washington Commanders, his playoff season, the season we went to the playoffs. That was
2 years ago.
2 years ago. His one lone time prime time win. Good win, but one out of your 6-year career with the New York Football Giants, that's awful. And Daniel Jones,
Mhm.
he's holding us back right now. That interception that he had in the red zone on one of the first drives of the game just baffles me because he had Tyron Tracy there left open in the flat. And he was just trying to make a play out of nothing. Like just bite the bullet, take the sack, and learn how to play goddamn football. It just baffles me that he doesn't understand. Just throw the check down. Find your first read. If he's open, throw it to him. He's trying to make a big play out of nothing. And Daniel Jones, he's holding us back right now. Yes, he'll have flashes where he's good and he'll make the right throws, make the right read, and he's got some quarterback runs and he's gaining yards on with his legs there, but I don't know. The Giants defense, they look good. They look like a top 10 unit right now. Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy, Azeez Ojulari even had 2 sacks. He stepped up for an injured Kayvon. He's out for 4 weeks, right? So the defense looks good. And the corners, they pretty much held down Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Like, they didn't allow any big plays from them. Maybe one to Jamar Chase. But other than that, they held the Bengals to 10 points, essentially, because that last touchdown was a garbage time touchdown. So they gave up there. But holding that Bengals offense that just scored 35-plus points against the Ravens to 10 points is pretty darn good. And we should have won that game if we had a competent quarterback, which we don't. And Daniel Jones is holding us back. The offensive line, they pretty much held down the fort. Andrew Thomas, he looked good for the most part, but now he's hurt. And now he's going to be out most likely for the end of the season here. So now Evan Neal has to step up. And I don't know. Evan Neal, he's a former first-round pick. Maybe he has something left in the tank there. I hope he does. Second opportunity. Hopefully he delivers. Probably not. But yeah, he's going to have to step in and fill in now that Andrew Thomas has a foot injury. I believe it's a Liz Frank injury, they were saying, with Jordan Schultz on that report. But yeah, not having Malik Neighbors hurt, it did. Hopefully he's back in the lineup for the Eagles. That's the only chance we have at winning that game. And yeah, Daniel Jones is holding us back. Brian Dable is doing everything, squeezing every ounce out of Daniel Jones right now, and it's just like hurt. It just hurts to watch. It just hurts to watch, knowing that he's doing everything he can in his power. Like we're going for on fourth down. The one fourth down we went for, Wandale Robinson was wide open, and he threw it to Darius Slayton there on the crosser, and he was guarded perfectly, like literally blanketed. And Daniel Jones, that was his first read, and he just threw it there because the pressure was on, prime time. And he does not have a touchdown in his last 7 primetime games, which
Wow.
baffles me. Baffles me.
That's rough.
And he doesn't have a touchdown in his last 5 home games. Another thing that baffles me. So when your quarterback is showing consistency at home and on primetime for being bad, it's time to move off of him. And yeah, Daniel Jones is holding us back. It sucks. I wish for good things on this man. He's a good guy. He shows up to work every day. He's always in there early and, trying to work his hardest to be the guy. But he's just not the guy. He's just not the guy. It is what it is. Turn the floor over to you. I'm done talking about it.
Yeah. So it's a strike 2, strike 3. I know you were at strike 1 after week 1.
That's strike 2. That was strike 2.
Okay.
You had a time to capitalize, right? Time to capitalize, primetime game. And, you could have went 3-3 going into the Eagles game there, winning at home, prime time, showing up. For all the doubters out there, that was a perfect opportunity, and he blew it. So that's strike 2.
Okay. I think you guys just missed out on Jaden motherfucking Daniels, and you guys regret it. He's so damn good. I love that guy.
He's pretty good.
That guy.
You gotta blame Tommy DeVito for that.
One of the funniest things I saw in that game was it was like 3rd and like 20 something. It was in the first quarter, and Joe Burrow runs. They're in midfield, and he runs it in for a touchdown. I started dying.
That happened.
Laughing.
It was just a broken play there with their defense.
That was funny.
But other than that, the offense didn't do much. They held them to a field goal after that.
I thought the touchdown at the end was kind of bad because you're only down 3, and you knew they were going to run, and you couldn't stop it.
The game was pretty much over at that point. There was like a minute left. It was over.
Yeah,
we weren't going down the field. With Daniel Jones, come on, man. Prime time, it wasn't happening.
Hey, you never know, man.
Oh, I know.
The Dable offense.
Too much Giants football. The Dable offense, led by Daniel Jones.
So how do you feel about Dable? Do you like him? Do you think they should get rid of him?
I think he's squeezing every ounce out of this roster to be the best it could possibly be.
Okay.
And when you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, he's holding us back, and you can't propel this team to win these games. He did it one year. He did it his first year, got him to the playoffs, but that was because we had a cupcake schedule, and we were winning these close games, and we had also Saquon Barkley as well. But now, Malik Neighbors, he was out this game. If we had him, we possibly could have won. I know we beat the Seahawks the week before without Malik, but this is a game we needed Malik, and you could tell.
Yeah.
That Lou Anarumo defense actually showed up to play now, right? BJ Hill, former Giant, was showing up, making some plays. That was a Dave Gettleman move. Don't blame Joe Shane for that. But, yeah, I believe in Dable. I just love the culture that he's bringing Giants. I like, smart, tough, dependable. And, the locker room is rallying behind him. It's just the lack of talent I believe we still have on the roster. There's still some holes. We're still in the middle of a rebuild. We're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thought we were, going to be a bottom team. You thought we were going to be a bottom team. I thought we were going to finish 3rd. So there wasn't really any playoff aspirations with this team. So I feel like Dable, what he needs to do is he needs a chance to draft his own quarterback and develop his own quarterback. And then I'll move off. Because he still hasn't been given that opportunity.
Yes, I have another question. So Malik Neighbors still in concussion protocol. He was seen Wednesday night at a Travis Scott concert
Talk about it.
with all the strobe lights that could mess up with a concussion. And interestingly, there were some Giants fans that were upset Sunday night that he wasn't wearing Giants gear. He was sitting there in his own kind of street clothes. Do you think that's a big deal or not so much?
The street clothes, that doesn't matter. I see a lot of hurt players in street clothes all the time. The Travis
Okay.
Scott concert, maybe, because it wasn't a good scene, right? It wasn't a good publicity stunt. But if you would think of back in the day, I feel like there's players that would do that all the time. There's definitely players back in the 80s that were hurt that would go to a concert. But now that social media is a big thing, everyone's going to make a big stink out of it. Everyone's going to make a big stink out of it. But yeah, it wasn't a good look. But I don't know if it's going to really harm the concussion or make it worse. And maybe the reason he didn't play this Sunday was because he went to that concert, and maybe because he did get cleared, but since he went to that concert while under the protocol, they was like, you're not playing this game. So that could have been another thing. I'm not sure that's the case, but that possibly could be another thing looming there. But with the Travis Scott concert, that's one of his biggest artists, one of his biggest fans. He's one of the biggest fans there. So I get why he went. But yeah, it's not a good look. It was at MetLife though, so it's not like he went out of his way and somewhere else, right? It was at MetLife. So
no, that would be egregious if he went to LA or something to see that. That'd be egregious, but
yeah. So at least it was at MetLife, and he had his team there. He had his security guards and all that. So like he was bodyguards. So it's not like he was just there by himself.
No,
so I'm not really worried about it. I'm not worried about it. People are just gonna make a
I know the reporters asked him about it, and Dable said he was keeping that in house. So maybe your point of him getting benched for that game is a possibility, but at the same time, you do hurt your team though, because like we're saying, he's been a dog. He's been really, really good. So you do hurt your chances of winning if you don't play him. So I get it, but would Dable sacrifice his chance of winning though? That's where I'm kind of confused if he would go that far.
Yeah, I don't know.
In discipline.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. One thing you didn't mention that I do. From what I've watched, I did watch most of it. Brian Burns was a dog. He's been showing up. He had a slow couple weeks, but now he's turning around. Stepped out with Kayvon Thibodeau's absence. He's been looking really good. Dexter Lawrence looks really, really good. He's been consistently your best player. He's been the Giants' #1 player without a doubt. He's doing his thing up the middle, man. He's doing it all. I gotta give those two a shout out. They've been playing great ball there. The offense. The Daniel Jones, the end zone play, real quick. I thought he was trying to throw it out of bounds. I didn't think he was trying to hit anyone. And then when he did, it just got hit. It got deflected.
That could have been the reason why.
It looked like he was trying to throw it out of the back of the end zone.
Also, I didn't get to mention Tyrone Tracy. I want to give him a shout out. Dude is a baller. Rookie, 5th rounder went from receiver to running back, and he's explosive, man. Like he is a great gem, I think we found. And yeah, he was one of the highlights on that offensive side of the ball. Could catch the ball out of the backfield, make a man miss, run between the tackles. Like he was special. And I think we found a gem right there. So I think Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue, pretty solid back.
No, man, I don't disagree with that at all. But yeah, I just want to give you hit everything you wanted to. I don't have really much to follow up. I just want to give those two guys a shout out. And yeah, Daniel Jones, you got to move off him. You got to get a quarterback in there. So once you get your quarterback, then you can really assess the team and see what you still need to add. So I still think you need that. And if you want to if we're talking about championship football, you need a competent tight end. I cannot name you like the Eagles. They won with Zach Ertz. The last 2 Super Bowls was Travis Kelce. You can't win a Super Bowl without a competent tight end. So Daniel Bellinger's not going to cut it. You need a good quarterback. You go as far as a quarterback.
He's coming onto the scene. He had like a catch.
Well, hey, there's a kid. Not that I want this to happen. There's a kid in Penn State, Tyler Warren, that's like
Oh,
Taysom
dude, he's a
Hill
dog. He is a
2.0.
dog.
If the Giants somehow would get him, I would be pissed, but it would be an excellent move. I won't knock that move.
Him and Theo and Daniel. Oh, that'll be a
And
solid.
then your next quarterback, whoever that might be. Yeah, just getting a new quarterback in there, you can really assess your team. So I feel like those two areas to get to that Super Bowl level, you need to improve that
Yeah,
mostly. But yeah, and then you can see, and then I think from there you'll be like, okay, we're not too far. It's like maybe some little minor things you have to make along the way to get into that Super Bowl conversation. But yeah, you got to get your franchise guy in there. I did see on Twitter that there were some Giants fans hoping that the Rams would sell Matt Stafford and the
yeah,
Giants
I
would
saw
get
that
him.
too.
So I'm like, I don't know about
That's
that.
just yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He's super underrated, but he's just
Why would he want to come to us? We're not even close. Not even close.
he's just old, and you don't have like a win now window. And he's like, if you have a team put in place and you're a quarterback away, that's who you could get. He's won a Super Bowl. He's proven. You're not there, so I think Dable hasn't had the opportunity, along with Shane, to pick their own guy. And I think they want to pick their own guy in the draft, evaluate the quarterbacks, and I think that's what they'll do. I don't know where they'll fall in the draft order yet, but they may have to move up. It'll be interesting to see what they have to do, or if the guy they want all along will be there when they pick, whenever that may
Yeah.
be.
So you think Dable? You think he's staying? You don't think he's on his way?
Um, I don't know. There could be he could be scapegoated, but I feel like Daniel Jones will take that. He's been there longer. He's been through some regimes there, and Dable's now taking over plays, and his offense, he's not really everything's like short and intermediate. They're not taking him deep. There's no like deep routes because they know he can't
Well, every
really
time they
throw.
do a deep route, it's not completed because he can't
Yeah,
deliver a
they don't
fucking
do they
deep
don't
ball.
they don't do it. So the offense is limited. So he might be saying, "Look, I can't open up the playbook if he can't hit routes down the field and outside the numbers." So
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
think
definitely a
and
conversation
it's
that
tough
they're having.
too. It would have to be a John Mara move if they move away from Dable. I don't see Shane firing him. They came in together as one, so it'd be really weird power struggle if one of them were gone. If Mara picks Shane over
Yeah,
Dable,
'cause
or Shane Mara
every
picks
game,
Dable over Joe Shane. It's a weird dynamic, but I think Daniel Jones will be scapegoated. I do think John Mara will give them both an opportunity to pick a quarterback, and they'll give him maybe another couple years to see if they could turn it around. So that's what I
yeah,
think might happen. I don't think they will give you much of a reason to get fired, and he has a good point. It's like in saying, I haven't really had much to work with. Look what I had with Josh Allen. We were a top offense. So if you
exactly.
get me, I'm not saying you're going to go and find Josh Allen in the draft, but
Oh
if you
yeah,
can
I
get
know.
it's hard to hit a home run on those guys. But if you could get me someone better than this guy, we can make turn it around and make something
And
happen.
Drake
So
May,
he
he,
has a
he
point to be
was
made.
looking pretty good this past Sunday, and that's the guy they were
Yeah,
looking at.
yeah. I might have to eat crow on that. I wasn't a big Drake May guy, but hey, if he looks pretty well with that in that offense with not much going on, then his future's bright, man.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think the Giants they just need to find a way to get a new quarterback, and I think Dable, he's earned the right to coach again because of how close this team is of winning every game. He hired Shane Bowen, the new defensive
Mhm,
coordinator. So far, it's looking like pretty damn good hire. Defense, they lead the league in sacks, right? Brian Burns and
mhm.
Dexter Lawrence have been coming on the scene, and the coverage hasn't been awful. Yeah, there's some broken plays in coverage that teams are scoring on, but other than that, like we've held opponents from 21 points and under the whole season. So
Well, Well,
you
I'll
got to
say
give credit
I'll
there.
say this: it makes his job easier. I'm not too sure about Bowen, but it makes his job easier if he doesn't have to design blitz packages. If he can have a consistent pass rush with the four, it helps him out, and he can go into dime packages. He can bring more backs in the backs to cover if he knows he has a consistent pass rush. So Yeah, that's more of a tribute to Shane than I would do with Shane Bowen. That's more to Joe Shane, I would say, for getting a competent front four that is wreaking havoc in the league right now. So I wouldn't put that on Bowen. I would put that more on Joe Shane for constructing a good defensive line. That's
Yeah,
making it easier for him.
yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I think we can end off this video here because we are kind of getting
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
longer on time. But yeah, hopefully, you guys did enjoy this episode. If you did, drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We would really appreciate it. A lot of topics we recapped today, and want to hear your guys' thoughts about it down in the comment section down below. And wanted to give it to Justin any final words before we end off today's video.
Yeah, man. Not much to say. Dallas, they got smoked. I don't think Steve has them finishing in first place anymore. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
We'll talk about that more maybe in these other videos coming up. We'll sprinkle
Okay.
that in there
All
a little
right.
bit.
Maybe. Stay tuned to those episodes is all I'll say to that. And little prayers up to Aiden Hutchinson. He fractured his tibia fibula. That injury was nasty. So prayers up, speedy recovery to him. The
Yeah,
NFL world will miss you, man. You're a dog. Rest up. Get well soon. I know your season's over, but we'll see you some point next year, man.
yeah. So yeah, sucks. Keeping prayers up for him, and yeah, hopefully a speedy recovery. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll catch you guys later. BenchWire.
Out.